Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier and welcome to my updated impressions of the Anvil Hurricane after the 2 questions and answers posted by CIG. Pretty much as we all expected, this ship has generated a lot of heated discussions on the forums, Reddit, and on comments and YouTube videos. Most of the main concern is with regards to that manned turret. To put that thing into perspective, that ship has an entire Aegis Saber worth of weapons on its turret. Initially, that sounds like a reckless and overpowered plan that would make all other fighters irrelevant. One of those if you can't beat him, join him situations. Luckily, there's been a bit of confirmation that set my mind at ease, and here's what you need to know. At the core of the possible balance issue, the most important thing that came out of the Q&A is a very simple statement. Balance is not about being equal, balance is about being fair. An overpowered or OP situation exists when some game asset or mechanic has a clear advantage without a reciprocal penalty. For as long as I can remember, some turrets on some crafts in this alpha have been allowed to be slaved by the pilot, case by case, and I believe that this will be changing soon. There are currently 3 ships that you can slave: the Super Hornet, the Cutlass, and the Gladiator. The Super Hornet has an unmanned remote ball turret, and I believe that not much is going to change here. You'll be able to slave the turret or allow the gunner to operate it. As for the other 2, I'm looking at the Q&A to see what may be in store for them. The main question on everyone's mind was actually asked 3 different ways using different wording. It seems a little bit ridiculous, but at the same time, that's a good indicator on how important this topic is to the community. Can the turret be slaved like the Super Hornet? Will I be able to lock the turret forward and let it be used by the pilot? And can I exchange the manned turret with a fixed weapon like the Hornet? Basically, the same question, but themed differently. The Cole's notes from all the answers is eventually yes, the pilot will have options to fly solo and use some form of the turret's capability. So that answer tells me that they're rethinking the current weapon hardpoint methodology. The current weapon document was launched in March of 2015, and this ship most definitely presents a possible fairness issue unless it's released with some care. Hopefully they're planning to expand on what we already know rather than rewriting the entire plan. The pilot has choices, and the choices have unique costs. Power, computation, heat, and mass will restrict what you can expect from the system. Veterans of this franchise would expect a single size 7 port to mount a single size 7 weapon. On a ship this size, that most definitely does not sound fair, so I would expect a new document elaborating on the new imposed limitations that will expand on the original plan. In the case of the Hurricane, the Q&A mentions an additional avionics blade, which would be required to manage the extra computational load of the targeting computer. That would occupy a step and alter what the pilot could fit on the craft. It's a simple lore limitation to preserve fairness. I'm not opposed to the idea as long as it's consistently applied across the fleet. The Cutlass and the Gladiator are examples of ships that could slave the turret. The Vanguard and the Retaliator are examples of ships that could not. So I would expect that all manned turrets in the near future will require an avionics module for the pilot-controlled operations. This would collectively bring the weapon size down 1. If this is our way forward, I would very much like to see serious efforts placed into this sooner than later to flesh out how this will be implemented. This is very easy to see on a Cutlass, but on the other extreme, it would be replacing all manned turrets on the Retaliator with smaller pilot-linked weapon mounts. As I said, if it's applied to one, this should be applied to all ships across the fleet. The possibility is a bit of a pitfall, but this could make some ships that I originally found unappealing interesting again. It's very important to remember the point of that manned turret, the AI or breather that with teamwork will allow the ship to work better. Make no mistake, this game is about teamwork, and I'm very happy to see that there's efforts being made to reward it. That was the most important thing. However, they also outlined some other answers which I'm going to present to you as a lightning round. Where does this ship stand in speed and maneuverability to other ships? Quick, but not nimble, with a decent afterburner reserve. Intended to punish larger ships and lone fighters. Engaging the Hurricane in standard dogfighting is not recommended. Rush in, attack, rush out, regroup. Will this be an effective ship for solo pilots? Yes, but not as effective as if the ship was crewed as intended. A crew will be able to benefit from power management and other bonuses such as possibly a quicker lock and tracking effectiveness. There was mention of this bonus when the gunner station would be tracking the pilot's target like a team. If you read into that statement, it seems like they intend for a crew of 2 working together to have an advantage on missile accuracy, quicker lock-on, or perhaps a greater chance that the missile will defeat a countermeasure. An interesting idea that if done right may make you choose team over solo play with this ship. And once again, with the idea of fairness, this idea probably would not be limited to a single ship. A possible exciting change to what we currently know about multiplayer crew mechanics. How can the Hurricane be a heavy fighter when it's smaller and lighter? The heavy designation is with regards to its firepower, not its mass. Can we expect the pilot and gunner to have ejection seats? Yes. That's it. What is the operational range of the Hurricane? Operationally, it isn't a long-range deep space fighter like the Vanguard, more like a Gladius. How advanced are we expecting the power plant to be on this ship? There's room for customization, but the default power plant is dated. This means that you'll need to make frequent choices in power management. What is the best tactic for a Hurricane? When alone, work as a hit and run, but it functions best as part of a composite team as a striker paired with a tank ship. Only one size 2 engine? Does that mean it's slow? The Hornet has a single size 2 engine and it's twice as heavy, so the Hurricane won't necessarily be slow. The ship is listed as having small components. Does that mean that the ship will have a low signature? The Hurricane will not have a natural stealth ability like the Sabre. That's not to say that you can't be sneaky with your Hurricane, but without specific stealth equipment, your shadiness will depend on your system management. How many Hurricanes can fit in a cap ship? The Hurricane is the same size as most other fighters. What does glass cannon mean? High damage output at the cost of durability and protection. Will the Hurricane have modularity and options? No, nothing over the planned hardpoints and item systems. And finally, can I hire an NPC for the turret? Yes, but it'll cost you a salary based on their skill and loyalty. In closing, CIG used a couple of reoccurring terms throughout this document. Reasonably balanced and what's fair. I hope you enjoyed this no bullshit breakdown of the Hurricane Q&A and the insight into what changes are coming for the solo pilot in multi-crew ships. If you liked the video and got something out of it, please share it with your friends and org mates. Thank you very much for spending your time with me today. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.